scientists, welcome back. I'm Jessica Power, one of the curriculum coordinators at Kansas City Public Schools. Last week we spent some time talking about energy. We talked about the effects of sunlight and how the sun actually makes surfaces warm up. This week we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to talk about life science, specifically about traits. Traits are just characteristics that living organisms have that make them unique. For example, I have blue eyes. I'm 5'7". I have blonde hair. Well, technically it's brown. I have a size 8 shoe. Those are traits. They're characteristics about me. What are some characteristics that are unique about you? Do you have brown hair? Do you have blonde hair? Do you have dark brown hair? Do you have brown eyes? Do you have blue eyes? Do you have green eyes? Do you have red hair? Do you have curly hair? Do you have straight hair? How tall are you? What color is your skin? What does your face look like? What does your nose look like? What shape is your eyes? All of these are traits. They're characteristics. Now we as humans, we get our traits from our parents. Just like animals and plants in this world. Did you know plants actually have parents and offspring? Offspring, what are offspring? Offspring are the babies of the parents. So that's going to be our focus today. We're going to talk about traits of organisms or living things. We're going to identify traits of living things. We're going to talk about how does parents and offspring have similar but not the same traits. And finally, I have a guest star for you today. Special guest. She runs around my house all day, non-stop. And so I wanted to allow you some practice identifying traits by looking at our special guest. We'll get to her in a little bit. First and foremost, last week you probably noticed my assistant, Fred. Fred just hangs out in the background. Fred is a model of a human skeleton. That's right. Underneath your skin, underneath your muscles, you look similar to this. Maybe a little shorter, maybe a little taller, who knows? So a model is just a replica or a structure that's the same as the real one. So for example, our bones are made of calcium. They're made of really, really hard minerals. Fred, his are made of plastic. These are just molds. Have you ever made cookies and used cookie cutouts? Right? And so if you want the cookie cutout to be in the shape of a heart or a star or a circle, that's what it comes out. Think of that as a mold. Maybe you've seen an ice cube tray before, right? So you put water into the tray and that makes little ice cubes. That's also a mold. So what happened was Fred was created from a mold of a human body. Now you'll see there's different screws in Fred, different metal parts. And these metal parts represent his joints or areas that he can move in. So Fred's shoulder can move just like our shoulder can move. His wrist can move just like ours can move. Unfortunately, I have to move his for him. So Fred will be with us during all of our videos this year. Hang out, Fred. Let's go back to traits. So I said earlier that traits were characteristics of living organisms. They're characteristics of living things. I gave you the example of my eyes. I have blue eyes. My skin, I have semi-pale white skin. My hair is kind of curly, wavy, mostly straight, kind of a mess on normal days if I don't curl it. What characteristics do you have? Think about that. Can you name 3 characteristics or traits that you have that are similar to your parents? Okay, we're going to take a look at some animals today. Okay, now these are just pictures to start off with, but we're going to be looking at a parent and an offspring. We're going to take a look at what does the parent look like and compare that to the offspring. What does the offspring look like? We're going to find characteristics, traits that are similar between the two. So the first one I have for you today is a Dalmatian. If you take a look at our Dalmatian, we have a mom Dalmatian, and we have a baby Dalmatian or a pup. Let's take a look. I'll give you a couple seconds. Do you see any traits that are similar between the pup and the mom Dalmatian? Let's look. You may have noticed spots. The mom Dalmatian has black spots on her body. The puppy does have spots as well. They're not as dark, but the puppy and the mom share a similar trait of spots. What else do you see that's similar? I see their noses. Here's the mom's nose. It's mostly dark with a little bit of pink. And I see the puppy's nose, mostly dark with a tiny bit of pink. That means their nose, that trait, is similar between the two. Now, do you see a trait that's different? Well, first, I noticed that the mom is wearing a collar and the puppy is not. But that's not a trait. That's just an accessory, right? A trait is something that comes from within. It comes from our DNA or our genetics. So it's something that our parents, our mom and our dad, pass on to us. Or in this case, the mom and dad Dalmatian pass on to the baby Dalmatian. One trait that I notice is different between the mom and the baby is the ears. If you notice, the mom's ears are mostly black, but the baby's ears are mostly white. So that's a trait that's different between the mom and the pup. Should we try another animal? I was thinking so too. Let's take a look at penguins. Does anybody like penguins? I like penguins. Okay, so taking a look at our penguins, here's a penguin father and its chick or baby penguin. Now, do you notice any traits or characteristics that are similar between the father penguin and the chick? Well, I notice that right here around the head of the penguin, its neck area, is a very dark color. And that's the same for the father penguin. So they have similar traits. Something else that I noticed are their feet. They both have webbed feet, very dark colored feet. So they share similar traits. Let's take a look. I noticed their beaks. Their beaks are both very pointy. That long beak probably helps them catch krill or the food they eat. So their beaks are similar. Do you notice anything different, or do you know something that's different about chick penguins and the adult penguins? If you're able to see closely, you may notice that the chick is covered in really fluffy feathers, whereas the adult penguin looks to be more smooth. An adult penguin still has feathers, but those feathers are just smaller, shorter, and really, really close together to help keep them warm. Whereas the baby penguin has a lot more fluffier feathers, and over time will lose those feathers. Ready for another animal? Okay. This is another animal that lives in a really cold place. A polar bear. Now, a polar bear mother, and her two cubs, okay, or baby polar bears. Do you see any characteristics or traits that are similar between both? Any traits that are similar between the mother polar bear and the two baby polar bears? I see lots of traits. The first one that stands out to me are their ears. If you see their ears, they're all the same shape. They're similar in size compared to their body. So they share their ears as a trait. something else that I noticed that's similar is their mouths and their nose. So the mouth, the nose, the mouth, the nose, the mouth and nose. They're all the same color. They're all the same shape, which means they share that similar trait. Their paws. It's hard to see this one's paws, but the mom's paws and this cub's paws, those look similar. They share that similar trait. I think some of these were pretty easy. What do you think? Are you ready for something more challenging? Yeah, I thought so. So, last but not least, I have two pictures of two dogs. Now we are talking about how offspring, or baby animals, or humans, are similar but not the exact same as the parents. Well, in order to really get a good look at what traits are similar and different, you need both parents. So here I have a picture of our special guests, mom and dad. Now you've probably guessed it by now looking at these photos. Our special guest is a pup, or Bella. Bella is my dog. She's a Bernedoodle. Now, on our pictures in front of us, you'll see a poodle. This is an apricot poodle, known for its brown coloring. And then this is a Bernese Mountain Dog. Now these were Bella's parents. You'll notice they look extremely different. One thing they do have in common though is 4 legs, 2 ears, a nose, a mouth, a tongue, and they're really cute. I don't think that's a trait though. We're gonna take a look at Bella in a little bit. But what I want us to do is look at what are some of the characteristics that we notice that are unique or special to these individual dogs. We'll start with the poodle. So the poodle is Bella's mother. She's an apricot standard poodle. Standard just means that she's the biggest size of poodle there is, the normal size. Now you might have heard of toy poodles or miniature poodles. Those are just smaller sizes of poodles. So, looking at our apricot poodle, you'll notice she has brown or a slightly brown reddish fur. She really has hair. You may notice that her hair is curly. You may notice that her nose is a little bit longer than the Bernese Mountain Dog, comes out a little bit more. She has long ears and a long tail. And she is very, very fluffy. Now let's take a look at Bella's father. He's a Bernese Mountain Dog. Now you'll notice that the Bernese Mountain Dogs have different colors on them. He has a lot of black coloring, some brown up near his face and his legs. He has white on his chest, white on his face, and then white on his paws, if you can see that. You'll notice that his nose isn't as long as the poodle's nose. You'll notice that the mouth is similar between the two dogs. The eyes, if you look really carefully, you'll notice the poodle's eyes look a little bit bigger than the Bernese Mountain Dog. They're a little bit more set back. Now I wonder what these two, if they had a puppy, or Bella, I wonder what their offspring would look like. Make some predictions now. What do you think Bella looks like? Bella is the offspring, or the child, of these two dogs. If you had to use your imagination right now, what kind of characteristics or traits do you think Bella would have? Do you think she's all one color, like the poodle? Do you think she's more than one color, like the Bernese Mountain Dog? Do you think she has curly hair? Or more straight fur? Do you think she has that longer nose, like the poodle? Or the shorter nose, like the Bernese Mountain Dog? What traits do you think Bella has that are similar, but not the same as the parents? I think it's time that we go get Bella. What do you think? Okay. Okay, scientists, this is Bella. Bella is a Bernedoodle. Yeah, aren't you? Yes, you are. She is the offspring, or the baby, she's not so little anymore, of the Bernese Mountain Dog and the Poodle that we looked at a couple minutes ago. Now, taking a look at Bella, do you see any characteristics or traits that are similar between her and both the Poodle and Bernese Mountain Dog? Let's take a look. Well, the first thing I notice is her nose. Her nose is really long, a lot like the Poodle. Remember what that Poodle looked like? The next thing I notice is her hair, or her fur. You'll notice she's all different colors. There's some, if you look really close, there's some black hair, there's some brown hair, there's some white hair, which kind of makes her look gray in a few places. So she's all different colors, just like the Bernese Mountain Dog. Now, something else that might be difficult to see, but hopefully you can see it, is her hair. She has hair just like the Poodle. Now, it's a little short because she got a haircut a couple weeks ago, but you get the point. You'll notice that some of her hair is kind of curly. You can see it in her ears. You can see it in her hair. You can see it on her side. She has curly hair. Can you do a spin for everyone? Can you spin? Can you spin? Good girl. So this is Bella. She's our special guest. Apparently she's a little camera shy right now. But she is the offspring of the Bernese Mountain Dog and the Poodle. And you can see different characteristics or traits that are similar between Bella and both the Poodle and the Bernese Mountain Dog. That's how you and me got all of our traits or characteristics. I don't look just like my mom, and I don't look just like my dad. I look like a combination of both of them. Do you see characteristics? Do you see traits that are similar between you and your mom or you and your dad? What about characteristics that are similar between all of you? What about characteristics that are different? When you get a chance, take a look, find some characteristics. Let Bella choose on her leash. What are some characteristics that are similar between you and your mom, you and your dad? And if you even want to go further, what about your grandparents? Are there any characteristics or traits that you have that are similar between your grandma or grandpa? Because chances are there are some, because your grandparents passed along traits to your parents and your parents passed along those traits to you. I'll see you next weekend, scientists. Thanks for hanging out.